So I am super excited to be able to bring to you for the first time a 5-day self-love challenge. Now, if you've been following me in previous years, I've had a 7-day self-love challenge, but I figured that was a little extensive, and let's just start with the shorter time. So as of right now, I want to start off by saying I want you to have a little bit more faith. I want you to have patience with yourself through this challenge. I want you to think about extending grace to yourself, okay? You've gone through a lot, and maybe it's not all heartbreaking, but mentally at this point in our lives, especially like when we've crossed that 30, 25 and up threshold, you have dealt with some things or experienced some things. And so moving forward, you have decided, right, as of today, because you're watching this video, to level up and step into what you are being led or called to do. So taking this 5-day challenge does not mean that I am making you enough or helping you to be a better person. You're already more than enough. This challenge will help you go in the right direction. Your direction and where you should go may not have been aligned in previous times, but through this challenge, we're going to realign your thoughts, mind, and goals so that you can get back on track to the right direction. Okay, so loving yourself means embracing and learning from our past as well. Our greatest adversary oftentimes comes from our own thoughts, but your thoughts are just thoughts. I know firsthand that not every goal that I've wanted for my life has been accomplished. I also know what it feels like to feel that all hope is lost and that we won't be able to fulfill the aching in our gut that keeps pulling at us and pulling on our purpose. But that thought process exists no more, okay? As we move forward, your hope will eventually be restored. So before we begin each challenge, every day I want you to start off with affirmations. These affirmations are going to be used for the challenge, but also just use them throughout the day. So here's the first one, write it down. My purpose can be accomplished through different means, right? And I want you to think about that. Whatever it means to you, my purpose can be accomplished through different means. The second one, the purpose is not on me, it's in me, and it can't be taken away. Now that one, that should be easy to remember. Anytime you feel that self-doubt, my purpose is in me, it's not on me. And then the last one, I can make mistakes. They are normal. They are a normal part of growing and learning. You can make mistakes, it's very normal, and it happens anytime you grow. So, deep breaths, let's get into the challenge. So for the first day of this breakdown, okay, I want to address self-sabotage and how it affects us in our careers, relationships, and just our greatness, okay? Let's just go back towards me so y'all can get to feel where I'm going with this. In 2017, I had my son Noble. I suffered from postpartum depression. I was suffering from indecisiveness in my career. And I felt guilty that I didn't necessarily have everything together in order to raise my son. And it wasn't like I was broke, right? I had a job, but I was still living paycheck to paycheck. And so in that sense, you're still thinking, I'm broke, I don't have money. I was working overnight shifts, y'all, breast milk dripping down my shirt at work because my boobs were engorged from not being able to get up for 2 hours as a producer at the desk. And so with all of that, I was still grateful. And I know y'all probably thought I was going to say something else, but no, I was still grateful. I was unhappy in my career, but I was still grateful. And so I know you're probably like, well, how can you be both? I knew that the life that I had at the moment wasn't the final destination for me. And I also knew that it could be worse and that there was this sense of gratefulness that still needed to come with it. I had a job. My son was happy. He was healthy. And so being happy for me is an emotion. And we won't be happy all the time, right? It's when we learn to regulate our emotions, when we are facing difficulties in situations, is when we also can learn to defeat those self-sabotaging thoughts that may cause ungratefulness. And so I know you're probably thinking like, well, what are some of those self-sabotaging thoughts? Are we even on the same page? So I'll just share a few with mine just to be vulnerable. Like I used to wonder when the situation that I was in would change for me. I thought about, am I good enough? And why did I feel like I was chosen to be in this fight? And can I even stay in the ring? Are the visions that I have for myself, this beautiful vision that I have for myself, and these desires, are they real? Like, are they really attainable? And those are self-sabotaging thoughts. And when you think that way, right, it impacts our happiness. It impacts the way we are grateful for just being alive and having the breath of life within us. And so, long story short, I felt as though my child would be a deterrence in my life and that the goals I previously set for myself were no longer possible. And it wasn't until I developed a self-love routine, y'all, which was me journaling out those negative thoughts and putting positive ones right next to it, that I began to pull myself back into this higher version of myself. I'm not saying I don't have doubts. I'm not saying that I am beyond fear. It's just a routine that when I have these feelings, I put them to paper, I work through them. So just today, right, go get a journal or some notebook, paper that you're not going to throw away, that you're not going to disregard. Go get a notebook. And I want you to begin to write for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, y'all, okay? Just 10 minutes. Whatever comes to mind with this journal prompt, I want you to include these specific things. Who am I? Start writing. What do I want? What is important to me? What's bothering me? How do I view myself? Not how you look when you go out to the club. How do you view yourself, right? And how do I think others view me? Because that's the one that keeps us bound in a lot of situations. Oh, if I leave, if I do this, if I try this, if I'm with it. How do you think others view you? And then I want you to follow up with, why do you care? Why do you care what people think, right? And I'm not saying you have to not have a conscience. We want to have conscience. But you can't allow for the thoughts of others to overpower where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, and what really brings you happiness. And so for the very last question, after you just heard that, what really brings me happiness, how can you love yourself more? All of that should take you 10 minutes. If you write it down, go back, rewind it, do whatever you need to do. Who am I? If who am I takes you 10 minutes, that's fine too. If you want to break each segment question down and do it for 10 minutes, that's perfectly up to you. But I just want you to be able to tell your mind that, hey, today I'm giving you 10 minutes to get it out, to put it on paper, and so we can work through this. So we're not battling this. So we're not keeping this in to ourselves. And, you know, if you can't tell someone, you could tell the paper. The paper ain't gonna tell nobody, right? And so answer those questions and let's get back to it tomorrow, y'all. This is just day one. Don't you give up. Don't you get weak. And you better come back tomorrow. All right, bye.